And again, you're listening to the Haven Financial Group, where every week we discuss crucial retirement topics, the ins and outs, mistakes that we try to help people avoid. So please feel free to give us a call at 612-504-8400 or havenfinancialgroup.com. Kim, good to be with you again.
It's great to be with you as well, Larry. Well, we are now coasting directly into the holidays with the election behind us. We, have sort of seen it as Halloween, then election, and then the holidays. So it looks like that's behind us, and certainly there's going to be an impact associated with it. So this week, I know that you had talked about the idea of maybe talking about how a second Trump term will impact retirees and those who are preparing for retirement.
Yeah, for sure. For the most part, the election's behind us, and I think everybody can give kind of a sigh of relief. And, my observation here in the past week or so has been, people seem to be a little bit happier, a little bit more at ease, just my observation. There's public sentiment seems to be good, whether you're happy or excited or disappointed. And I think there's just a sense of relief that we don't have to look at all those commercials on TV and all the results and all that stress. It's not fully behind us, but I just sense that people are a little bit more relaxed than they were.
Well, I think, I'm getting this, and you and I have talked about this off the air. I think people are ready for a break. I sort of anticipate the holidays are going to be a big time across the nation because people are looking forward to just maybe celebrating and, like you said, relaxing finally. But we do want to talk about what this second Trump term is going to mean. Taking a look at our show today, number one, we're going to talk about tax cuts. Now, we've talked about this so frequently here on the show. The Act of 2018, which were tax cuts that were put into place by the first Trump term. We're going to take a look at now that there will be a second term, what that could mean. Trump and the stock market, obviously this first week or so since this has been decided, we have seen the stock market rally. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. Questions on tariffs. Tariffs were certainly a part of President Trump's campaign promises. So we'll talk about how that could impact retirees. And then finally, the Federal Reserve and maintaining autonomy, which since you and I have chatted, we have seen the Federal Reserve drop interest rates a quarter point again.
Yeah, they did. Weren't sure that was going to happen, but it did happen. So we got a lot to talk about, changes on the horizon, like or dislike, but this conversation we're going to have today would be very, very different had there been a different outcome. So, again, we'll stress the fact that planning, no matter who's in, not just for the short term, but the long term. And, again, we're going to dig into some of the tax things and a variety of these things in the show this morning.
Sure, absolutely. If you are listening and you would like to set up an appointment to meet with the folks here at Haven Financial Group, we'd like to share the telephone number with you. It's 612-504-8400. That's 612-504-8400. You can call that number, set up a free consultation with the experts at Haven Financial. It costs you nothing. It's an informational session with one of their team members, and you can do that at any time. Again, it's 612-504-8400. So let's talk about the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2018. They were set to expire in 2025, and that could very well be a thing of the past, meaning the expiration.
Yes, the expiration date, there very well could not come to fruition, which we've been planning for, which is good because we didn't know what was going to happen. But the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2018 was the largest tax code overhaul in 30 years, 3 decades, Kim. Mm-hmm. And it changed a variety of different things, from the corporate tax rate being 35% to 21%, which Trump would like to actually get to 20%, and create a lot of tax benefits that help individuals and families. It really helped them as far as the tax brackets go. And that's one you're hearing a lot of talk about, because these brackets at the end of 2025 were supposed to, probably won't now, change and revert back to what they were, which was higher. An example being that, the 10, 12, and 22 and 24% would go to 10, 15, and 25, and so on. So significantly go up.
Mhm.
I'm guessing, and again, most speculators would say that that's not going to happen. So it certainly could create more opportunities for tax planning, which at Haven Financial Group we're very big into. Many people today do not itemize their taxes because that was also part of this act.
Mhm.
Those numbers went up very big under the uh, first time around for Trump. I mean, most people don't because right now $30,000 for a couple is the standard exemption for couples, and it's even a lot more for head of household, 22,500, and then for individuals, it's half of that 30,000, 15,000. So most people's tax returns, very little itemization, created a lot of simplicity for a lot of people. And I'll just point out a few other tax things under the Tax Jobs and Cuts and Jobs Act, like the child tax credit.
Right.
Um, there was income limits on this. This act raised that again, providing more families with access to credit.
Mhm.
The state and local tax deduction. It affected taxpayers in high tax states, of course, like Minnesota.
Mhm.
Um, so again, there's a variety of things with that could stay the same. There could be minor changes, but how that affects the average listener is, having a plan, creating a plan, making sure that it's up to date, current, and then you're not just missing opportunities. A lot of this act had to do with taxes from personal to business, and I'll point out estate planning.
Mhm.
That's one that went. The federal tax exemption is about 13.6 million this year. It's going to go to almost 14 million individually federally. Of course, the state of Minnesota is 3 million individually. So if you're listening and you're over those amounts, you should have an estate plan anyways, but it may make sense for tax purposes. So a lot falls back on the taxes. Some would say this is a great thing, but there's always pros and cons to the situation. So to be determined, all we can do is control our own actions and what we do at this time.
So, how are you going to be advising maybe pre-retirees or retirees when it comes to taxes and this staying in place? Will things change the way you start to advise?
It won't change. It'll remain consistent because all along in all the years, we've been very big in educating on forward thinking tax planning. Tax laws, tax codes, they always change, either for the good or the better or in between. It's just important to understand those changes so we can adapt and make adjustments to how individually and as families we do our taxes, anything we could take advantage of. Oftentimes there's people that miss up different things under the tax code that are available, and they do because they do tax preparation, but there's no tax conversations or planning along the way. And that's why Lance, our CPA, who's been on with us a few different times, we're big into having tax conversations, not because they're so enjoyable, because they're not. But I'll tell you what, it puts people's smiles on people's faces when they finally realized that there was an opportunity. They executed the opportunity. And I'll tell you, the opportunity right now, fourth quarter, is folks that have sat down over the years where Roth conversions haven't made sense. They are making sense. Newer clients that go, why isn't our old guy that takes care of us or our previous individual, why haven't we been talking about this?
Right.
And quite frankly, it's because there's no conversations and you drop off, pick up your taxes, and no more discussion. People should have more time to talk about these, and they're just not getting it.
Absolutely. At Haven Financial, it's a holistic approach, folks. Not only are you sitting down to talk about different strategies for your retirement, but you're talking about the entire picture. So you could be talking about, as we are now, taxes. You can be talking about estate planning, talking about, income streams. All of these things are discussed when putting together a portfolio. And if that's something that you need, or you need someone to look at maybe and adjust some things, maybe because this Tax Cuts and Jobs Act will remain in place, then we're suggesting that you call Haven Financial Group. It's 612-504-8400. That's 612-504-8400. You can also go to havenfinancialgroup.com. You can learn more about Haven Financial Group. You can also learn about some educational seminars that are coming up. They are free, and they just need you to sign up for those so they can get a head count before they start to make their plans. Today, we're talking about how a second President Trump term could affect retirees. We've talked a little bit about tax cuts and the Jobs Act. And coming up next, we're going to talk about President Trump and the stock market.